Okay, Tales from the Hood. How often did you ever think you would see someone like myself say Tales from the Hood? This again is one of those, like multiple part, like anthology stories. And essentially you have some gangbangers going to buy drugs, found drugs, from a funeral director. He then kind of goes through like, oh, this guy died from this reason, and so on and so forth. And ironically, you have 4 stories as opposed to your typical 3. And they all have enough of a bizarre supernatural element, which actually makes it really good. This is actually probably one of the better anthology stories, as crazy as that sounds. The first one, you've got some cops essentially pull over a black rights activist. They beat the crap out of him. And one of the cops said, whoa, 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 whoa! What do you guys do? You can't do this. We gotta take him to the hospital. We gotta make sure he's okay. Other cops, yeah, that's right. Go back, shoot him full of heroin. Throw some heroin in the guy's car, push it into a river. Yeah. Of course, he kills that seeking revenge. And his revenge tends to be that beautiful, ironic sort of revenge. That guy who shot him full of drugs, he pins him against the wall using hypodermic needles. And that guy essentially becomes kind of sucked into being like a living mural. Another guy gets like beaten and torn apart. This stuff works. It works fairly well. Because it's done with a bizarre supernatural feeling of, the dead coming back and exacting full revenge. Using powers like, telekinesis and all sorts of really bizarre, unique powers. And then when it's all said and done, it ends up being that the cop who wanted to help out, who tried to help out, had a mini mental breakdown and kind of killed all of his, essentially killed the other officers. And it's done fairly well. It is remotely over the top, but it's done well. Which is bizarre. These movies normally, each individual vignette is kind of choppy and kind of dumb, but this one actually works fairly well. The next one, probably one of my favorites out of all these little sorts of stories. You've got a kid who's kind of getting beaten up by a monster. He realizes that he draws a picture, essentially, of the guy's beating him up, and the word monster appears on the guy's arm. Why? Whatever this kid draws, it affects the reality around him. So he takes a picture of you and he crumbles it up. You essentially become crumbled up in real life. It's that nice, over-the-top sort of Twilight Zone feel to it, where you got a kid who's being mistreated, who has a bizarrely outlandish power, who uses it to exact revenge upon the people who actually really deserve it. This one could have some very special effects to it, but given the time this movie came out, this is done well. And you actually feel some empathy for the kid, because he's being beaten up, and this is how he's essentially getting revenge, because the pen is mightier than the sword. Next one. You've got a mural that makes these little dolls come out of it. Those little voodoo dolls come out of this mural and kill a racist guy. Nice. I know you're probably thinking, I'm this huge fan of like bizarre little killer doll movies, and I am, because there's something kind of unique about killer toys. Or in this case, little killer dolls. It works. It works well. You feel zero empathy for the guy being killed. You're not supposed to. This is a straight up revenge movie. Revenge vignette. And the last one. This one almost reminds me of an episode from the HBO series Spawn, based on a comic book, where you have a guy who gets shot and wounded, and he's, like, unrepentant, homicidal, psychopathic gang member. he goes through a series of events where it's kind of like, you are killing your own kind. You're killing black people. Do you like watching black people die? And then he shows them essentially, Clockwork Orange style, different shots of like lynchings and what the Klan does, and he's not repentant about it. Fine. And they put him in, censored occupation, and let the souls of the people he's killed kind of do one of those, are you at all sorry for what you did? Unrepentant the whole time through. A little girl shows up. She's like, I was killed by a stray bullet. He doesn't care. Doesn't care at all. He is who he is. You don't like it. He could give a S less. He doesn't. Nope. Nah. But that was his path to redemption. He never made it to prison. He's laying there right now with that grazing wound. And everything he's yelling, he's screaming at these people. No, man. I don't give a F. I don't give a F. Guys at middle room? Oh, you don't? Boom. Dead. It's got that beautiful, you could have redemption if you just felt sorry for what it is that you did. You didn't? Now that's it. You're done. You're brown bread. You're dead. Period. Now how do they end this? They end this with the guys trying to get the drugs end up realizing that the funeral director is actually Satan. Now the guy they had who does this role, the life man cannot think of his name. He does an absolutely immaculate, evil Satan. Next to, Satan from Legend. Oh! And the fact that they all essentially kind of end up going to hell and they're tortured in agony. It works. This is actually a super enjoyable movie. If you like the bizarre anthology sets, this one works, and this one works actually fairly well. No, I'm not going to review, the Snoop Dogg, horror anthology. No reason to do that. If you want to see, essentially, an African-American-based horror anthology, Tales from the Hood does it. And it does it well.